I welcome you all to this session, and the topic of our today's discussion is the condition for cavitation, and in this context we will introduce a parameter that is net positive suction head. In fact, in the last class we have introduced this term, and today we will see that this term is an important term in the context of cavitation in hydraulic machines. Okay. So, if I now just for the recapitulation, if you try to recall that if we have a pumping station and say this pump is drawing water from a tank and this is the tank, this is open to atmosphere, and pump is discharging water to another tank which is this HD distance above the pump datum. So, and this distance is HS, right. This is suction side reservoir, and this is delivery tank. Okay. Now, we have discussed many times that up to the suction side of the pump, this is mainly P atmospheric which is acting on the liquid surface, the liquid which is there in the suction reservoir. So, what we have discussed? We have discussed that until water or liquid reaches at the inlet to the pump, there is no addition of energy to the fluid, of course. So, when the fluid is entering to the pump, then there is energy addition by the pump itself, that is mechanical energy will be added to increase the stored energy of the fluid. But until this place, so if I now use different color and if I give the name this cross section, so this is say EE, right, and this level say this is 1 1, right. So, what we can see is that until section EE there is no addition of energy, liquid flows from section 1 1 to section 1 E by virtue of pressure difference, that is nothing but we have discussed which we have derived from the steady flow energy equation applied to these two sections, section 1 1 and section EE. Okay. Simply if we write that, now if we simply write that steady flow energy equation, right, between sections EE and 1 1, then we can write P ATM by rho g equal P E by rho g plus V E square by 2 g plus H S plus HSF. So, that is the frictional loss or frictional losses at the suction side. Okay. Now, that means if we now try to find out this pressure, if we try to recall in one of the previous classes we have discussed that the pressure, if we have one pressure gauge at the suction side and then we have been able to show that that pressure is negative pressure or vacuum pressure, right. And because of this PATM, that is this the pressure which is acting on the liquid surface is usually the atmospheric pressure, and because of this pressure difference liquid starts flowing from section 1 to section EE. Okay. Now, if we try to recall, in the last class we have discussed about that any point in the fluidic path, if static pressure locally falls below the vapor pressure at that prevailing temperature, boiling will start, and this phenomenon of development of vapor bubble, I mean that is what I was discussing in the last class. In fact, I have discussed in the last class that if pressure falls below the vapor pressure at that prevailing temperature, because of this change of the thermodynamic states, there will be formation of vapor bubbles, and though the bubbles will be formed, those bubbles will be carried by the liquid which is flowing from the formation place to the another place wherein pressure is relatively higher. Experiencing that high pressure, relatively high pressure, the bubble will collapse, and it is not only the fact that bubble will collapse, it will lead to an undesirable effect in the context of pump operation, and that is what is known as cavitation. In fact, we have discussed. So, when the vapor bubble is getting formed and it will be carried by the fluid in the course of flow, its size will grow in size, it will grow in size and eventually it will collapse. When it is getting collapsed, this phenomenon is spontaneous, rather repeatedly occurring, and that is what I have discussed in the last class, that the frequency of occurrence of this phenomenon is as high as 25,000 per second. Now, the phenomenon is transient, and when the bubble will collapse, to fill up that gap, surrounding liquid before the bubble collapses will rush towards that place, and the liquid will rush in the form of a jet. It will give rise to a noise, vibration. Not only that, if the vapor bubble forms on the solid surface, in the region very close to the solid surface, then the liquid, surrounding liquid will rush towards that spot in the form of a jet, and it will create a pressure, a thrust, and that will try to erode the material. So, those different problems we have identified in the last class in the context of cavitation. So, what we have understood is that cavitation is not a desirable phenomenon, but there are chances that this phenomenon will occur. So, we need to take preventive measure. In this context, we have identified that pressure should not fall. Till now we have understood that pressure at any location, at any position should not fall locally, of course, static pressure should not fall the vapor pressure. So, now if we try to recall that, again I am drawing the pump impeller. Now, you can see that when this pump is rotating, perhaps I have discussed this issue in the last class, that suction pipeline, if it is a radial flow pump, suction pipeline will be connected right angle to this plane. Now, what will happen when liquid will be approaching the leading edge of the inlet, I mean vane. So, this is the pump vane or pump blade. So, leading edge of the pump vane or blade, of course, at the inlet, what will happen? Up to that location we need to be careful that pressure should not fall. But now, question is, we have seen that only the P atmospheric is the driving force to have the flow occur from location 1 to location E, right. And in the course of flow we have seen that this pressure difference need to overcome the static height, as well as this fellow, that is the frictional losses. Also there will be other losses due to presence of strainer, bends, valves. So this and this what I can say presence of valves, bends and frictional losses will definitely deduct the amount of head which is available at this location, right. So we should be careful that when liquid is approaching this leading edge of the pump vane at the inlet, that up to that location pressure should not be allowed to fall below the vapor pressure. If it falls, definitely we cannot have any option, cavitation will start. If we can somehow ensure that until this section E pressure is not less than the vapor pressure, but it has seen from the experiments, from the practical operation, that though the pressure when liquid is approaching to the leading edge of the pump vane, till that maybe the pressure is still remaining above the vapor pressure, but when when the liquid just enters slightly inside of the passage which is between two consecutive blades, right, then you can see because of the very narrow cross sectional area, velocity will increase, kinetic energy will increase. Since the total energy is remaining constant, pressure will be reduced, and this place is very I can say this place is this particular place, that is not exactly at the leading edge, but slightly inside from the leading edge where cavitation is expected to occur. Okay. So why? Because total energy is remaining constant. When the liquid is now trying to flow through the path between two consecutive blades, because of the reduction in cross sectional area, the flow will accelerate, and because of this acceleration pressure will fall, and that pressure may even go below the vapor pressure at that prevailing temperature, which will eventually result in the formation of cavitation, that is nothing but the formation of bubble. Okay. So can we now quickly see, in this context at least we should know that from the design point of view, from the pump operational point of view, that is there any parameter, by studying that parameter, by knowing the magnitude of this parameter, at least we can alter either the pump installation, pump operation and all those things, essentially to prevent this effect, that is the cavitation. Okay. So now this parameter is known as net positive suction head. So the one parameter which is known as net positive suction head. So this parameter is an important parameter in the context of pump operation, and if we give this equation is number 1, then if we go to the next slide, now this NPSH, that is net positive suction head. Okay. So if we now go to the previous slide, so this is nothing but, in short it is known as NPSH. Okay. So what is NPSH? So now if you try to understand what is the head available at this location, that is at the leading edge of the pump vane at the inlet, pump inlet, and whether that head is above, whether that total head is above the head corresponds to the vapor pressure or not. So if we now try to find out, see, if we try to recall what I told, that when liquid is now trying to move towards the inner side of this flow passage, which is being formed between two, which is already there between two consecutive blades, there liquid will accelerate, flow velocity will be higher because of the reduction in the cross sectional area, and velocity will increase, total energy is remaining constant. So definitely pressure head will be reduced. So what is the total head at this, say if this is the location, if I try to mark this place using different color, say this is the place. So this is the place which is very which is vulnerable to this undesirable effect, that is cavitation. So if I give the name, this place is say B this particular position. Okay. So, at that particular place, what is the total head available? So, we can see the total head is nothing but P e by rho g. If I write P e, or in fact I should not write P e, rather I will give different name. So, I can give name of say P B plus V B square by 2 g. So, this is the inclusive of both the static as well as dynamic head, right. Now, this is the available head, right. So, you can understand at this particular location pressure will be there, velocity will be there, total head will remain constant. So, basically this total is remaining constant everywhere, somewhere this fellow will be high, this fellow will be less, and somewhere the reverse will be there. So, they will adjust in such a way that the total energy is remaining constant, but still somewhere the first one might be higher, second one will be lesser, or in some place the reverse will be there. But our objective should be somehow the total I mean this pressure should not be static pressure, I am talking about, not dynamic. So, static pressure should not below the vapor pressure at this prevailing temperature. Okay. So, now you can understand this is the total head, static plus dynamics. Now, this is not the net. So, net in this context the word net is used to denote that whether this quantity is above the vapor pressure of the liquid at the prevailing temperature in this particular place, right. So, this is the total, not total. So, this is the total head available at section B. This is the vapor pressure at section B at that prevailing temperature. So, that this head on the top of this head is the net positive suction head. Now, you can understand if this is positive, definitely this is, I mean this must be positive to avoid cavitation, and that is why it is known as net positive suction head. The word positive is coming from the fact that this quantity should be always positive. If this quantity becomes negative, then definitely cavitation will be there. So, the word net here is slightly different from the total head that we have discussed in the context of the first two quantities. So, this is the total head available at section B, rather at point B, which should be above the head which is corresponding to the vapor pressure at that particular point, right. And this total quantity, net quantity should be positive to avoid cavitation, and that is why it is known as NPSH, net positive suction head. Okay. So, very quickly can I write, now you can understand. So, if we now go to the previous slide. So, if I now understand that this location E and B, they are very close, right. So, the point B which is very close to point E, and this is known as eye of the impeller, that is what I was I have already discussed. So, right. So, instead of, I mean if the liquid, when liquid is approaching just slightly inside the leading edge of the pump vane at the inlet, this point, so this point B which is very close to section E, right. Only to understand that at that location, since liquid will accelerate, flow velocity will be high, and at that place pressure will fall and static pressure may become below the vapor pressure. So, cavitation will occur. Okay. Since this point is very close to the section E, I can simply use equation 1 to recast this expression. So, I can write the point B is very close to section EE. Okay. Now, if you can understand that, so that is P, I mean we can consider that PB is almost equal to PE and VB is almost equal to VE. Okay. So, if we try to, I mean this point is very close to that section, and but for the understanding, to have a better understanding, that is what I have discussed, and in fact cavitation starts here only, that is eye of the impeller. Oh, I mean that is inlet to the pump impeller, it never happens outlet of the impeller, because at the outlet velocity, you can see area is very large as compared to the inlet. If area becomes higher, then flow velocity will reduce, which in turn will increase which in turn will increase this fellow. So, the total energy will remain constant, this fellow will be lesser, which in turn will increase the first one, and if the static pressure increases, then definitely there is no chance of having cavitation. Okay. So, very quickly I can write this quantity can be written, that is nothing but P ATM by rho g minus Hs minus HSF minus PV by rho g. Okay. So, this is the net positive suction head, understood. So, this quantity is net positive suction head. Okay. Now, at least I will try to discuss a few important things. See, so you can understand, if the pump is operated like this, that pump is drawing water from a tank which is located Hs distance below the pump datum. So, right. So, again I am writing pump datum is the impeller axis. Okay. Now, so if it is, I mean, if the pumping station, pump operation is pumping station and in which pump is placed or installed is like this, in that case, I mean, cavitation can be safely avoided provided this quantity becomes positive. If you would like to have this quantity become positive, then at least you can see we can have control. I mean, if I just now try to write using different color, thus we have control over this fellow and this fellow, right. So, this is the atmospheric pressure usually which is now the driving, which is actually the positive favorable for this case. What is the what we can see from this expression is that Hs will try to deduct the total head which will be available at the suction side. This fellow, just like parasitic loads, so this fellow will try to deduct the net head that will be available at the suction at the inlet to the pump impeller, but this is we had nothing to do with this term, right. So, can't we reduce Hs? If we can make Hs 0, then perhaps it is very favorable for the pump operation, rather pump can be operated without having cavitation. HSF, if it can be reduced, it can be completely, we cannot make this term completely 0, right, frictional loss will be there. There should be valves, bends that is required for the pump operation, because water or any liquid should be drawn into the pump using pipeline, and if we need to have pipeline, fittings will be there. So, definitely we do not have control over there, but at least we can reduce it, we can minimize it by making use of less number of valves, less number of bends. Okay. But what we can do, we can have control over this term. So, now in this context, just I will tell you one important thing. If we now go back to this particular schematic, so can we make Hs 0? So, this type of operation, pumping operation, what I have drawn here is known as pump operation with negative suction, right. So, pump operation with negative suction, because the pressure which is available at the inlet to the pump, at the inlet at section E, that is negative pressure, that is vacuum pressure, that is what we have discussed. So, this type of pump is known as pump operation. Pump operation, in fact, I will be writing in the next slide, So, I mean, if we have pump and it is drawing water from a tank, right, and discharging water to a tank. So, this type of pump, so this is Hs, right, and this is Hd. Okay. So, what you can see that Hs should be 0. I mean, if we try to reduce Hs equal to 0, then perhaps the reduction of head due to this fellow will be, I mean, that we do not require to overcome the static height at the suction side, that is what we can see. So, if we make this term 0, so we do not require to overcome the static height at the pump suction side, right. So, this type of pumping operation is known as pump operation with negative suction condition. Why? Because the presence of Hs will is making the pressure which is available at section E, that is the negative pressure or vacuum pressure. Okay. So, this is, I mean, again I am telling, though I will be discussing in one lecture the operational issues of a pumping station, design issues of a pumping station, at least from today's class we have understood that it is advisable to make Hs 0. It is advisable to make Hs as minimum as possible. If it would be good if we make it 0, it would be more good if we make it positive, right. So, our objective should be to reduce Hs as much as possible, if possible, depending on the situation in which pump will be installed. If it becomes 0, this is perfect. It would be well and good if we make this quantity positive. By how? See, now the pumping station could be like this. So, we have pump, it is supplying water even in a tank which is hd distance above the pump datum, but it is drawing water from a tank. So, this is water tank. So, this is atmospheric pressure. You can see this is Hs, but this Hs will be positive, right. So, this type of pump operation is favorable. So, why? Because the expected undesirable effect like cavitation can be avoided, and this type of pump operation is known as pump operation with flooded suction. Right. Why it is flooded suction? As if this Hs will try to always keep the impeller flooded, right, as if this available head on the top of this atmospheric pressure. So, P atmospheric is acting over there. Now, if we go back to the slide, P atmospheric by rho g plus Hs, right, this Hs will be plus in this particular case. So, this head on the top of this atmospheric pressure will try to keep the impeller flooded always. If it is always flooded, definitely the head due to P atmospheric plus this static head will not allow local pressure at the inlet to the impeller to go below the vapor pressure at this prevailing temperature. So, the pump cavitation can be avoided. Okay. So, this is very important for the pump pumping station design point of view. From the perspective of pumping station design, someone should always go with this kind of thing, that is known as flooded suction. So, the bad effects due to cavitation can be avoided. Okay. So, now I mean this is what I wanted to discuss today. Very quickly I will discuss about that NPSH if I try to write. So, what is NPSH? I mean if we try to go back, that is the thing. So, PATM by rho g minus Hs minus HSF minus PV by rho g. Okay. So, this is PATM by gamma minus Hs minus HSF minus PV by gamma, right. This is what we have discussed. Okay. Now, you can see this is basically head, right, this is head NPSH, net positive suction head. If you look at every term which are there, all terms which are there in this expression, you can see all will represent the dimension of a head, right. So, this is head, this is also head, this is also head, and first one is also head. So, basically all terms in this expression represent the dimension of, rather carry the unit of head, right. So, if we try to make a dimensionless number, because always in our fluid mechanics course we have learned, we always try to make the equation, make different I mean terms in a dimensionless form. So, basically if NPSH, that is nothing but head, if I divided with this quantity by the head, that this head is the total head that will be developed by the pump, right. So, this head is the total head that will be developed by the pump. So, this is the reference parameter we can consider, and if we take this parameter to make this quantity dimensionless, so what will be the expression? So, you can understand PATM by gamma minus HS minus HSF minus PV by gamma divided by H, right. So, this quantity which is known as Thomas cavitation factor. So, this quantity is known as sigma, which is basically a dimensionless parameter, and known as Thomas cavitation factor. Okay. So, this is known as sigma, this is denoted by this symbol sigma, which is the dimensionless parameter and known as Thomas cavitation factor. So, what is the physical significance of this? So, you can understand, I mean, if we try to write that so basically if we try to write that sigma is nothing but P ATM by gamma minus PV by gamma minus HS minus HSF divided by H. Understood? Now, see, if we go back to the previous slide wherein I have drawn the pump. So, this is the case, right. So, at least the critical value of sigma, that is sigma critical when. So, that means we need to understand what is the pressure at the inlet to the pump. So, if we now try to go back, that what is the minimum pressure available at point B, that is inlet to the pump, that is at the eye of the pump. So, if we try to write that this expression P ATM by gamma minus P B by gamma minus HS minus HSF by H. So, say this is the situation, say we have considered this operation pumping station and at point B the pressure is PB. Now, this is, I do not know whether this is vulnerable to the cavitation or not. So, basically this C is known as sigma critical or sigma C. So, this is known as critical Thomas cavitation factor. Now, if P be greater than PV, then what will happen, right. So, I will discuss now, that means when PV greater than PV, then what will happen? So, basically when PV greater than PV, right, that means sigma greater than sigma C, right, that we can see from this expression. So, if this fellow is less, then definitely sigma will be high. So, basically the critical value of cavitation, Thomas cavitation factor is this. If by any chance PV becomes PV greater than PV, right, if PV greater than PV, then it will be sigma greater than sigma C, right. So, that means if sigma greater than sigma C, that we can clearly see from these two expressions, very easy, right, if PV greater than PV. Okay. So, what we can see from this expression is that means when sigma greater than sigma C, that is PV greater than PV, will cavitation occur? No. So, cavitation will not occur. That means the critical value of pressure at which cavitation is, that there will be onset of cavitation. The critical value of pressure PV, if the PV is the critical pressure for this particular case. So, if we now go back to this particular slide, that for this particular arrangement at point B, if this pressure is the critical pressure, that is at PB, this is the critical pressure for which there is an onset of cavitation. So, the onset of cavitation, the pressure at which there is just initiation of cavitation or onset of cavitation, that is the critical Thomas critical cavitation factor, and that is sigma C. If PV greater than PV, sigma will be greater than sigma c, there is no chance of having cavitation. Okay. So, you can understand if we try to now draw sigma versus h, right, sigma versus h, right, this is for the radial flow pump. So, you can understand that say this is, if I try to use different color now. So, this is this is sigma c, and if we try to use different other color now. Okay. So, from this particular diagram what we can see, that is if we try to draw h versus sigma, right. So, basically I mean just this expression if you can consider that h versus sigma, if we try to plot, then there is a critical value of sigma c. So, that is the pressure for this particular case, the critical pressure, minimum value of pressure at the inlet to the impeller for which there will be onset of cavitation, and that is the critical Thomas cavitation factor. If sigma is greater than sigma c, just now we have seen sigma is greater than sigma c, that is Pv greater than Pv. So, this zone there is no cavitation. So, this is called cavitation free zone. So, in this regime, that is cavitation free regime, we can safely operate pump without having, rather without expecting any such undesirable phenomenon. But this region in which sigma is less than sigma c, that is called cavitating zone. So, this is the this zone cavitating zone, right. So, from sigma c if we move towards right where sigma is greater than sigma c, cavitation free zone. When if we traverse towards left, that is if sigma is less than sigma c, that is cavitating zone. So, cavitation is likely to occur. Now, just I will conclude within 1 or 2 minutes. What we can see, okay fine. So, if we try to reduce sigma, if we try to traverse from right to the left, we can see we will be having sigma c, right. If we reduce further, if sigma is reduced further, then there is a increase into head and then further drastic rise. Why it is happening so, right. My question is, if we try to traverse from sigma c towards left, there is an increase in the head that we can see from this diagram. After having the maximum head, again there is a drastic fall of the total head, right, that will be developed by the pump. Why it is so? So, to explain, see the sigma c, so that is onset of cavitation, right. So, this is onset of cavitation. Now, just I will try to explain when there is onset of cavitation, right. Now, the cavitation will start, if cavitation starts, the boiling will take place, vapor bubble will be generated, right. So, when vapor bubbles form, then that vapor bubble will be carried by the liquid and they will be accumulating, right. Sometimes it happens that the vapor bubbles are accumulated over the solid surface and they try to provide, this vapor bubble act just like a blanket which eventually reduce the frictional effect between the fluid and the solid surface. So, again I am try to understand. So, when cavitation starts, onset of cavitation, if we try to reduce further sigma, then what will happen? The vapor bubbles, those bubble will try to form a layer on the solid surface, and this layer will this vapor blanket will provide a shield, a cushioning, so that liquid will not be able to in contact with the solid surface, and if it is so, then it reduces the frictional effect. If frictional effect reduces, head is increased, right. Now, if the sigma is reducing further, the vapor bubbles will be generated continuously. There will be a time in which these vapor bubbles will try to provide a blockage to the flow path and it will try to create another losses due to blockage, and eventually the head will reduce drastically. Okay. So, this is what is the explanation of this particular factor. So, we have understood that definitely to avoid cavitation of a radial flow pump, this is for the pump, this is for a pump, definitely this is not for a turbine, this is for a pump. So, for the pump what we have understood is that there is a condition for the cavitation. If we properly design the system, if we can properly design the pump again, I mean there are geometric parameter of the pump, then cavitation can be avoided despite the fact that I mean frictional losses is there. Sometimes we need to install pump in a station in which we need to draw water from a groundwater tank. So, the effect of design parameter, effect of system parameter and their influence on the total cavitation in the context of radial flow pump operation will be discussed in the next class. So, with this I stop my discussion today. Thank you.